So where we left off last time, we were in the third parak of Cheshbon HaNefesh, and the Chovos HaLevavos was going through step by step each of the 30 different aspects where one has to sort of look at their relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, see what they're doing, see how it could improve, and he breaks it down into 30 different parts. The last part that we were doing was the fact that, and this was the ninth aspect, the 9 out of the 30, so we're almost a third of the way there, is to sort of take a look and see if we are as committed to doing the right thing in all of the different ways that we have to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If we were to be a slave and we were to be unbelievably indebted to our master, wouldn't we be unbelievably committed to do everything right? And are we the same way when it comes to our relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu? And so in order to really highlight this, he basically broke down for us last time 3 different ways that we serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But Avodas Hashem is broken down into 3 categories. Category number 1, he says, is a mitzvah that's placed on the heart alone. Things that we have to think about are obviously our belief in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, love of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, aspects that relate purely to our emotional connection with Hashem. Number 2 are the mitzvahs that are placed on both the body and on the heart together, as an example of tefillah, and tefillah will be the focus of tonight's piece of what he's going to talk about in really in incredible ways, really analyzing what we do with tefillah, what we should be doing with tefillah, and it's an incredible, really I think a sort of a foundational approach to understanding why it is that we daven, the way that we daven, and just I think it'll be very fascinating, and I think it'll be extremely inspirational for all of us to see his words on this. And number 3, which we probably will not get to tonight, are the mitzvahs that are essentially placed on a person's physical body to do. You have to have kavanah at the beginning of the process, but once you're going through it, it's the idea of going through it, of actually doing it, being in the sukkah, putting on the tzitzis, etc., things that are essentially physical in nature. So we had discussed last time the first aspect of the mitzvahs that pertain purely to the heart, and how we have to, when we are asked to think about things, we have to sort of block everything out completely and only focus on HaKadosh Baruch Hu. As we ended that the shir last time, he says, any worry that I have when we stand in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in prayer and we're thinking about, are we doing the right thing? Are we approaching things right? There's nothing else that really should be in our minds. There should be a complete removal of any other concern. My only concern is in my relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. There's no other yagon, there's no other daiga, there's nothing else that sort of gets in the way. It's just my concern about doing the right thing. And that's where we left off. So now let's begin, at least in my sefer, it's the bottom of page Kuf Tzadi Dalid. That when you analyze the mitzvahs that we have to do that involve both the body and the heart, sort of this merger of the physicality with the emotion and with the thought, Kagon, for example, where a person is praying, he's giving praise to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tchila alechol anakos v'lirchot as gufcha mikol tinofel lichloch. Number 1 is a physical aspect. Okay, we really take this for granted, but it wasn't so simple when you didn't have beautiful shuls and the bathrooms were in a special place and everything was separate. You had to make sure, number 1, are you in a clean place? Physically, are you in a place where you're able to daven? I guess sometimes with kids in the house, with babies in the house, these are things we have to consider. Things with the diaper. Are we around things that smell? Are we around things that are clean? These are very, very important considerations. So number 1 is you have to make sure your body is clean and free from any type of dirt and inappropriate substances. To move away from any foul odors, anything along those lines that would make praying there unacceptable, inappropriate. Then you physically should be desisting from all other types of activities. And again, it's hard. You look around, sadly during the week, and you do find people, it sounds unthinkable, but you do find people while they're davening Shema Esrei are on their phones. And not because they're davening with their phone. But literally they're still in a Shema Esrei mode, and yet they're still doing things and looking, accessing, connecting, communicating, whatever it might be. These are things that we just are completely, they run counter to the very fundamental concept and aspect of what tefillah is all about. Your body can't be involved in anything else. Okay, Lahashba says, Gufcha mikol pul acheres, beinum hulaman ha'olam hazeh, beinum hulaman olam, whether it be physical, spiritual. I mean, we chazaras shots. You look around shul sometimes and you see people, and they're very, sometimes very learned people. They're learning intensely during chazaras shots. That's not our job during chazaras shots to be learning intently. Our job is to listen and to say Baruch Hu Baruch Shemo and Amen to the brachas. If you're so involved with your learning that you're not answering Baruch Hu Baruch Shemo, you're not doing the right thing. Right? So even though I'm involved in something which will bring me to Olam Haba, well, not in this situation alone. This is not what you call a proper level of learning. Clearly, the halacha says you should not be doing that. And it's also, a very bad example for, if you have students around and younger children around you, they look at this and they say, the bottom line is they might see that you're learning, but they're also saying you're not answering Chadash Hashatz. You're not answering Baruch Hu Baruch Shemo and Amen. That's your job at that particular time. So these are things also we can be in davening, and we can sometimes be preoccupied with learning or something else. You have this whole tzedakah issue. I know a lot of people get very emotional. Should people be coming by collecting money during davening? Should they not be coming by? One shul put up a sign and got into a lot of trouble. Baal Batim were furious. How could you put up a sign to keep people away till after davening? So there are different emotions here, but essentially, really, the truth of the matter is, when we are davening, we should not be doing other things. We should be totally focused on the mission at hand. And even if they're spiritual nature, it's not about other things that are mundane. Even if the other things are spiritual, they don't belong in our world right now. And to remove from one's heart, this is so tough because we are multitasking and we've got 20 different things on our plate and 100 different things to do and to think about, and it is amazing how during Shemona Esrei is when so much of those thoughts come into our heads. It's like, we couldn't think of anything till that point, and boom, all, the Chedushim come then, and the great ideas come then, and, when they shouldn't be coming, they come. But our job is to try to remove any types of thoughts of any type of other endeavors during the time of prayer. And then after you've done all that, who am I talking to? Who am I praying to right now? I'm talking to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to really stop and reflect about that immense, unbelievable concept that we're talking to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And what do I want from this whole endeavor? What words am I going to say? And what mission and essential goal am I going to have in my articulation in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu of my tefillos? And no furthermore, the words that we say in terms of the actual words of davening, they are like the peel of a fruit. And the thought of what those words represent are like the fruit itself. So the words are sort of like the outer coating, and the feeling and the thoughts behind the words is the fruit itself. And those are the words, and those are the thoughts. The actual articulation of tefillah is like the body of a person. This is sort of a similar type of situation. And the intent that a person has, so you've got the davening, sort of the siddur. So the siddur has two parts to that siddur. There's the words of the siddur, and there's the thoughts that are represented by those words of the siddur. And you've got the person davening, there's the physical person saying the words of the davening, that's the guf. And then you have v'liboy mahar b'ol seshah. So So 1 second. V'chiamiris hadfilu kamo aguf shel adam v'kavana betfila, and the person's intent during davening kamo haneshama shlo. It's like the soul of that person. So in both regards, both in terms of the words and the davening itself and the person that is saying it, there are two elements on both sides of that spectrum. There's the physicality of it, which represents sort of the external, and then there's the internal part of it, which is the neshama, or the fruit of the issue at hand. And having said this, therefore, if all we're doing is we're saying the words, and our thoughts are in someplace else, and we're, flying through, I don't know, whatever it is that we can be thinking about, business or Torah or pressures, and whatever else is going on, appointments. It comes out that our tefillah is like a body without a soul, uklipa below pri, and shells and layers of the outside of the peel without the fruit internally. Nesharak gufo nimsa, because your body is here. Avalibo and imo be einenu imo be'es tfiloso. Where's your heart? So HaKadosh Baruch Hu is getting external stuff. He's not getting anything of substance. The electricity isn't really fully engaged. There isn't emotion flowing in those fields. Your head's someplace else. HaKadosh Baruch Hu sees words without meaning. He sees a body speaking without a neshama there, without a soul. And about such a person, the pasuk says in Yeshayahu, "Yan ki nigash hamazeh befiv u'v'sfosav kibduni." They come close to me, this nation, with their mouth and with their lips they honor me. V'liba richak mimeni, but their hearts are far away from me. Their hearts are not near me. This was the bemoaning of the Nevi'im throughout the Bayis Rishon that led up to the Churban, or Chman Litzlan, was this idea that we were just going through physical actions and the heart was not there. This is our challenge every single day, 2 or 3 times a day, women or men. There is this challenge that we've got to try to take the time to focus. Again, this is an extremely difficult challenge, but one that we have to try to do, because you see how the contrast is so stark and so powerful in terms of how unacceptable it is. Another mashal that said about prayers without intent, without thought behind it. What's it compared to? So imagine a master comes back to his house and the servant is there, ready to greet the master. And the servant is extremely concerned about the honor that is befitting the master. So he says to the wife, and he says to all the household, all the children, everybody around, listen, you got an amazing man here. Okay, you have to serve him and respect him greatly. You got to make sure that his needs are being met, that you're sensitive to his needs, and you got to give him cover. So here's an Eved who's really standing up for the honor of the master of the house. Make sure you do everything he needs. When this servant is giving this big drasha to all the people in the house, that you have this amazing master, and you have to make sure that everything that he needs is met, and all of a sudden, and as he's walking out the door, he says, by the way, I'll see everybody a little bit later. I'm taking a 3-day trip to Vegas. I'm having a good time, and I'll be back a little bit later on. But, just in the meantime, remember what I said. You got this amazing man here. You got to make sure, he's treated well. And where are you going? I'm disappearing. I'm going to Simcha, Schaik. I want to have a good time. I want to be jovial. I want to rejoice. Lo sheris as Adon Batzmo. But he spends... He's nowhere to be found. He's complete absentia. He's not involved in giving honor to the master. No, he does not lift one finger to make sure this man is taken care of. When the master sees this, what? Is he going to be sort of thrilled? What a beautiful speech he made about my honor? Who costs a love? He's going to be angry. He's not going to feel good that everyone else has now been given a pep talk to take care of me. But what kind of business is this? So what kind of two-faced mentality? You give everybody a pep talk, then you disappear. So the real core of really what I'm relying on to take care of me and to give me what I need is not here. Zorkle is a kol el panov, and he throws everything back on his face and says, "This is unacceptable what you're doing." It's the same thing is true for a person praying. If the heart and his insides, his core, are not partnering with the tefillah, so what you're really saying is, you're saying, everyone should, be sensitive to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but your heart's not there. You disappear. You basically took off. All you're giving me are your limbs and your physical mouth, but if your heart's not there, that's the ikr, that's the main thing, and that disappeared. So what do you have after that? You've got, in a sense, it's like a slap in the face. It's not anything that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to, really accept. Habit no, as we turn the page, think about what we say when we finish Shemona. What do we say? We say words Yila Rotz and Imre Fi, Ve'yon Libi Lefanecha. Let it be for an acceptance of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It should be something that you find favor with. What? The words of my mouth and the thoughts of my heart should be in front of you, L'Ratzon. Hashem Tzuri V'Gali, Hashem is my rock and He's my salvation. Okay, so that's what we say when we finish prayers. So we have this, we daven the Shemona Esrei, however long it took, 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 9 minutes, however long it took, and then we end with this concept that I want the Hegyon Libi should be L'Ratzon. It should be accepted by you in a favorable way. Okay, if you were thinking about some, inconsequential matter, it can in at least a relation to tefillah. Lo chashivim mutter o osel harbo. Whether it be something that you're allowed to be thinking about in general, because sometimes we sometimes think about things we shouldn't be thinking about ever. That really negative thoughts come in, and you have very often b'nei Torah and younger boy teenagers who sometimes talk about and ask for advice. How do I get these bad thoughts? Dafkin Shemona Esrei, are these negative thoughts come into my head? So those are things that we can't think about ever. But even if things that you would be allowed to think about after davening, but you just can't think about it now. Okay, you want to think about the ball game. All right, during breakfast you want to think about sports. Go right ahead. But now during davening you're going to think about sports. Not appropriate. But then there are other things which are never permissible to think about. But either whatever flies into your head at that time, or whatever you're thinking about, it doesn't matter whether it's permissible or not permissible. Then think about it. It's an amazing wake up call. Whoa! Can I even say these words now? Says the Chovos Havavos, and afterwards you say, at the end of your tefillah, v'hegyon libi fenecha, my heart, the thoughts of my heart should be acceptable in front of you. What thoughts of your heart? Thoughts of your heart weren't there. What are you saying to me? Accept the thoughts of my heart. That's an acceptable statement if there were thoughts of my heart. But if my heart was completely someplace else, it was in the middle of Yankee Stadium, or on the stock market, okay, or on my appointment list of what I need to do today, then there was no Libi Hegyon Libi. Okay, hello Zeganai Gadol Mitzida. This is a tremendously shameful thing that you're saying. Okay, that you are in a sense articulating that you're speaking to HaKadosh Baruch Hu with your heart and with your inner core, right? Those are a powerful expression, the Hegyon Libi, right? The deep thoughts of my heart. So you tell me that I should find favor in the heart, the thoughts of your heart that were completely not there when you spoke to me? What kind of a request is that? And then I have the goal to even then, not only do I reference them, but then I ask them that you should accept them and you should be happy with them. Hello, Domu Mishnemar, love. It's exactly what the pasuk is saying in Yeshayahu. Yeshayahu again bemoans the fact, Yosi Yom Yom Yidrashun, you come to me looking for me every single day. V'das Drachai Yechposun. Okay, and you are searching for the knowledge of my ways, like a nation who does righteous things, and was not left the righteousness of his God. So you come to me looking really all serious and all wonderful, and yet look at your actions. Because Baruch Hu says your actions are not backing up the way you're talking. You're talking like a big tzaddik, but at the end of the day, what's really there? So these are really, really powerful messages of us to really listen to what we're saying, to make sure that we're not in a position of in a sense, doing something shameful to ourselves and almost like talking in a way that's almost, we're mocking ourselves. And who are you trying to kid? What are you saying? And the Gemara Brachos tells us a person should always, in a sense, calculate themselves and take measure. This is probably one of the reasons why you have different minhagim, although the halach is quite clear about eating during davening and the times for davening, but you do find different pockets in Klal Yisrael. Some people, feel they have a head to eat before davening. Some people take more time to do other things, because I cannot daven just in haste and when I'm not in a good position. So I need to daven. There are people who, let's say, they have to have breakfast first because otherwise I can't concentrate. There are some legitimate teirim for these things, legitimate allowances, because it says the Chol, you have to take a calculation. If you can focus your heart, daven, v'im lav al yispalo. If you can't be ready to do the job, don't do the job. Now, I don't think he's saying take the day off, okay, and therefore just don't daven. That would be like a real nice opening for a lot of people. But no, I think what he means is don't daven right now. If you can't get your heart ready right now to daven, then get yourself ready first. And don't just daven because everybody else is davening. And that's why you have people, whatever you see people, even though again, halacha dictates tefillah, but tzibur is the most important thing. Davening Shemona Esrei with the tzibur is what really dominates the focus of coming to a minyan. But let's say I just need more time. So I can't, if I'm going to be rushing with the minyan, I'm just not going to have any concentration. I'd rather take my time. I'll miss tefillah with tzibur, but at least I will be focused and meditative in my approach. He says, seems like that would be an allowance. Again, you don't want to fall into the habit all the time. Maybe you have to come earlier to shul, but certainly the message that he's giving us is, if you don't have your act together, don't pray right now. Rabbi Elazar commanded his students, Bein Hashar, amongst many other things, he told his students in a tzava. He said like this: in sort of a letter written, not sure if it was before his death, but he left the tzava. He left a clear message to his students. When you pray, sounds like simple. What are you telling me? But what's he saying? When you pray, know who you're praying to. Okay, well, of course. Well, who else am I praying to? Now he's saying, know it. Okay, stop, think, reflect, internalize. You're standing in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You need to take the time to really know that. And the Navi also tells us, prepare yourself in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Do not have your tefillah be a burden and some kind of a chore. It should be supplication and heart-wrenching pleas from the person towards HaKadosh Baruch Hu for compassion and for mercy. V'Yonah Hanavi Amar. So to Yonah said, "B'satef olai nafshi," as I wrap my soul around myself. Namely, I wrap myself in spirituality. V'Yod Nemar Nisal Avenu El Kapayim El Kel Bashamayim. Okay, we lift our hearts up to Hakadosh Baruch Hu, and I guess we lift our hearts up together with our hands up to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the heavens. But again, these are all references that your heart needs to be there. And therefore, v'lecha achid lodas, and therefore it's upon you, my brother, to know. Ki matorasenu b'tefillah, what is our goal in davening? He brings it down to a very fundamental point in terms of understanding the essence of what we do when we pray. Ki matorasenu b'tefillah ein el habia es klus nafshenu elokim. Our job during davening is to express our complete reliance and subservience of our heart to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, v'sachnol in front of him, and our humility in front of him, that we just basically, we don't have anything without HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'chein Shimon remember says Bara, okay, and that it exalts our Creator. Our tefillah is supposed to praise our HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and to give praise and thanks to His name, and to throw all of my needs and all of my burdens upon Him, to share them with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, tell HaKadosh Baruch Hu what my issues are, what my challenges are, and what my needs are. So it's all about, again, a very emotional, personal connection between us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu during our prayers. Now, it's interesting because right away, I can see a lot of people reacting, especially teenagers who I deal with all the time, reacting, well, then let me be personal. Let me then do it my way. Why are you telling me what to say? You've got this book here, this sitter that's constantly, telling me exactly what it is that I should be articulating. So he has an interesting twist on that. And he says like this. So he deals with it. Because it's all about the heart, so let it be the heart. So Chosova says brilliantly, Vatzorech benusach kavua v'ochid shel atfilahu. He says the need for a set way of davening and a sort of a oneness of tefillah, sort of a universal approach, a common approach. Okay, it is very hard for us to systematically be able to articulate the right feelings without an order, without a connection, without direction. It's very difficult. And therefore, the great rabbis of our of the earlier generations, the great Anshe Hagdolah, they made an orderly process of davening. That most people are connected to a need in order to articulate their concerns. This is almost the classic verbiage and communication that allows us to maximize our emotions. HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The words are there as a tool for us, not to just daven it off. So once heard a very wise man. He said if you quoted him, they probably run him out of town. But he actually said at a Torah Masorah convention many years ago that he feels that kids shouldn't be davening before they know what they're davening. You go through all these wonderful chadarim and schools, and everyone's davening, singing out loud, and they're shuckling away. They're 9 years old, 8 years old, 10 years old, and they just what's the chinuch of that? The chinuch of that is, well, they're davening real loud, they're davening beautifully, but they have no idea what they're saying, and therefore, really, the message, the fundamental chinuch message is davening is saying words and not knowing what in the world you're talking about. That's the message that he felt that they were getting. Now, obviously, the idea is that once you put the ideas and the feelings into the words, you'll have the words and the feelings. Start with the words and then get the feelings. His point was maybe we should be the other way around. Let's develop feelings and then allow, at the time that we have those feelings serious and honest, on a serious level, then articulate those feelings to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But to do it the other way around, he felt was counterproductive. But something to think about. So he says, through those words, it becomes very clear that people are completely dependent upon HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And through those words, we develop the humility to stand in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu with that sense of awe and reverence. And these are words that are all included within the framework of davening, in a proper order, in a way that now I can feel confident, I can say the words that will allow me to stand in front of Hashem. I mean, think about if we have to come up with the words, well, what are the right words? How do I know the right way to talk to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? How do I know that my supplication is appropriate? Now, again, you'd say, well, it doesn't really matter. Just say how talk how you feel, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu will accept it. That's true, and we certainly could still add. There's nothing against adding and using our own language as an addition. But if we didn't have this as a structure, there would be so many people who simply wouldn't even know where to begin. This is such a wonderful tool that the Anshe Hagdolah gave us to know that we're in the ballpark. We've got the right avenue. We've got the right words. It's appropriate, it's respectful, it praises HaKadosh Baruch Hu properly, and that gives me my entryway. So now you got the key to get in. But, so maybe, you might hit something, beautiful along the way on your own if you come up with your own words, but it's sort of, it's a stab in the dark. You don't really know what you're really going to produce. And do you really want to run that risk? But tzorach levates hatfilah bepehu. Okay, and the reason why we have to actually say it, right? Because let me just think it. What do I have to say it for? Because we know the nature of the person. The thoughts of a person are very fleeting. They're in, they're out. You had it, you didn't have it. Vein shoa believe. It does not stay in the heart. Thoughts alone are very fleeting, very elusive. Thoughts go flying in and out of a person at all times. It's very hard if it was purely intellectual and nothing verbal, nothing articulated, then it would literally be, our emotion would be flying, things would be going in and out. They are still going in and out, unfortunately, but certainly it would be much worse if it was all about thoughts and not about words, then we'd be really lost. Therefore they decreed that a person say the essential structure of davening in language, speaking with verbally, with words that are in order, words that are set up properly, because the thoughts will then automatically be connected to the words that are coming out. I'm saying the words. So once I'm verbalizing the davening, then there's a very good chance, it's certainly not guaranteed, but there's a much better chance that my thoughts are going to follow my words, because that's, at least I have to think to say those words. I have to think to articulate. Once you think to articulate, hopefully you can stay focused on what you're saying as opposed to just thinking, which would really make it much more challenging in terms of keeping those thoughts in order and respectful and focused. So what you see really is that tefillah represents words and substance and thoughts and feelings. The words certainly need the feelings behind them. But really the feelings do not necessarily need the words. In other words, even though, yes, we must have words, but really the goal are the feelings behind the words. And the words are there to evoke the feelings and to inspire us. But he's proving that at the end of the day, what's the most important part of davening? It's the substance of the message of what we're trying to deliver to Hashem. It's the feelings behind it. Okay, now I'll prove it to you. He says, okay, if you're able to have those thoughts in your heart and really organize them properly, then that would really be the most important thing. Okay, because the tochen, the essence of the message, is really the main goal. The yesod magamosenu b'tefillah, and the foundational principle of what our tefillah is built upon. And he's going to prove it. Look at what our rabbis teach us in the Gemara Brachos. So in the olden days, there was a time in the times of the Gemara that the rabbis decreed that if a man was tamei, had relations with his wife, and he was tamei because of emitting zera, emitting sperm, so that emission rendered him tamei. He had to go to the mikveh. Before he went to the mikveh to purify himself, they decreed that he can't daven. Again, we don't hold this way nowadays, of course, but that was for many years. That was the way things were in Klal Yisrael. But look what they did. They said you can think, but you can't daven. You can think the davening, but you can't say the words of davening. Okay, and you wouldn't make any bracha, not before, not after. Okay, so what does that show? That really you are davening. If you're thinking we're not saying, you're davening, but I'm going to take away the words because of the tumah that you have. I'm just going to chop away the physicality part of your davening, and I'm going to just keep this essential part, the heart part of the davening, the emotion part of the davening. Okay, and another proof of Shas when a person's very precious for time, rabbis have allowed on special occasions to actually shorten the Shemon Esrei. Okay, and to say an abridged version of davening. And to basically synopsize the entire Shemona Esrei in shortened words. But if the words were the main thing, there would be no, under any circumstances, no allowance to shorten the tefillah. You got to say all the words. Teretz is the words are just a means to an end. But if you can get to the end without those words, with a shortened version or with just a thought, you're allowed to. Al Kenachi Nifor, he says, my brother. I mean, again, these are concepts we really should review again and again. It's really also, I think, something that we should learn with as many people as possible, because he really opens up our eyes to the real benefit, as opposed to looking at these words as a chore and a burden, and something that's sort of, almost inviting a rote approach. We see that really the truth is the exact opposite. It's inviting an entryway into our ability to truly articulate our emotions properly to Hashem. He says, therefore, my brothers, Seder as Teichen V'chascha B'libcha. Organize the essential goals and substance of your prayers in your heart. Get them clear and get them organized. And make your heart the receptacle for your words. Allow them to sort of mold into one form, into meld into sort of a perfect union and a perfect partnership, that the words and the emotions perfectly go together. We have an easier time, again, that's just the nature of who we are. Yom Naraim, Yom Kippur, we have much less of a challenge on Yom Kippur when we're in shul all day and we're not going anywhere, to have these kind of feelings, as opposed to the rest of the year when things are hustling, bustling, and it's hard. But this is our job. He says, L'Kim Levado, and try to synchronize the words together with your heart to one goal, to God alone. Rest your body from all types of emotions, unnecessary movements. Don't go here, there, and everywhere. And sort of try to subjugate your senses and your thoughts. Try to remove any type of other issues and distractions anywhere in the world. Get them out of your mind as much as you can. When you're involved in prayer. This is the goal. To make literally that there is nothing else in the world, nothing else that counts, there's nothing else that matters. It's only us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu at this special time. It's an incredible challenge, but you see the incredible goal that this is really part of our Cheshbon. Getting back to where we're at and getting back to what we're talking about here, it's a Cheshbon HaNefesh of, are we doing the things that we're asked to do in the proper way? So this is the classic example of where the physical and the spiritual merge is during davening. Okay, and this is sort of the second. It's not the only example, but it's certainly the classic one that comes up every single day, more than once a day. This job that we have of looking at ourselves and saying, okay, am I doing it right? Am I serving HaKadosh Baruch Hu properly? Am I using this tremendous mitzvah of tefillah in a way that maximizes it? And am I not sort of letting these opportunities go by the wayside and, God forbid, making it even worse by sort of, ditching, saying the words, but my mind is someplace completely different. And Kadosh Baruch Hu says, where have you gone? And, what are you putting in front of me? So these are tremendous concepts that we have to focus in on. We're still not finished with this three-pronged aspect of the mitzvahs. Bez Hashem, next time we get together, we'll pick it up from here, and definitely things to think about.
So is it better to say less?